with that being said, Teddy Two-A-Days, the Las Vegas Raiders are our subject of the day, and we want to tap into what their 2025 season is going to be with Tom Brady, both in the booth and in the owner's suite. Last year, they finished 4-13.
Ugh.
That
and
is
not an entertaining 4-13.
Well, unless you had Brock Bowers on your fantasy team.
Right, but at least the Saints, as awful as they were, they gave us week 1 and week 2 of the most successful offensive beginning to a season in the history of the NFL. The Raiders didn't give you
not a flash
anything.
That game at Hard Rock Stadium was kind of cool. 4-13, out with Tom Telesco, out with Antonio Pierce, out with the Mahomes rules. Insert John Spytek as the GM, Pete Carroll as the head coach, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. Let's get to their offseason moves, though. What's different about these Raiders, their top 3 offseason moves?
Number 3.
Traded a third-round pick for Geno Smith, extended him on a 2-year, $75 million deal. I think Geno Smith is a competent quarterback. He's 34 years old. He can get you past the finish line if your finish line is 8 or 9 wins. I don't think that's a bad deal for the Raiders who needed a stopgap. I do obviously know, like you all, that that's not the long-term answer.
And Pete Carroll very well connected with the organization that Geno Smith's coming from.
Yeah, he played for
So if Pete Carroll didn't think Geno Smith had the chops, he'd be the first one to know and not decide to sign this guy to that amount of money.
Didn't he play? He had to have at least 1 year with Pete? Because when they got rid of Russ, yeah, he played for Pete.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think 1 year at least.
Number 2.
Talking out of my tail. I'm not paying attention to the Seahawks. They drafted Ashton Jeanty, number 6 overall. They pulled a Theo and CCAT fantasy football move, and they drafted a running back with their first pick.
Scary, man.
Yeah.
And we're watching right now on YouTube at ESPN West Palm. We're seeing Ashton Jeanty work out with the Raiders. He looks good.
Yeah.
Like, he does look like a cut above. We talk about those difference-maker running backs, and the very short list, the list is probably only 3, Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Christian McCaffrey. And we'll see about CMC this year. Jeanty should be on that list.
Jeanty is positioning himself to be on that list. When Ricky Williams, yes, that Ricky Williams, told us here on Theoretically Speaking that Ashton Jeanty was the one guy that reminded him of Barry Sanders, I was like, all right. I said, okay, I'm buying some Ashton Jeanty stock. I'm a believer. And that's high praise. It doesn't get any higher praise than to say he reminds me of Barry Sanders.
Full disclosure, didn't do a drug test on Ricky Williams before he joined the show.
We did not. We did not. And Ricky Williams is known to enjoy himself.
Number 1.
Number 1 offseason move from the Vegas Raiders. They cut Christian Wilkins and extended Max Crosby. So you cut Christian Wilkins, a weird scandal around that, apparently kissing dudes on the forehead and probably more. He's gone. A year after you paid him big bread. And then you extend Max Crosby, who is the heart and soul of that defense. Also, Cam Ward, on his interview with Bussin' and the Boys, he said that there's 2 players he's most fond of going up and competing against in the NFL next year. And it was Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs and Max Crosby of the Raiders. He said those are the 2 best defensive players in the league.
Huh.
And I love Cam Ward's moxie, his motto. He feels like he competes against defensive linemen.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. Is that speaking to how poor the University of Miami's offensive line was? Where it's essentially on one-on-one drills with D tackles and defensive ends?
It's like one of the top 5 lines in the nation. That's what Cristobal and Maribal are good for. It's because it's just his mentality. He says, like, I'm not going up against the DBs. That's the receivers, right? Like, he's far removed from that.
Okay.
If I was him, I would assume that you're kind of going up against the safeties, but no. He says on every play, the D-line is either trying to sack him or pressure him, so he takes it as like a personal battle, him versus defensive linemen. And let me tell you, he won that battle oftentimes.
Max Crosby, that top matchup.
Yeah.
And he's on the Raiders.
He's on the Raiders. The Raiders, who on Hard Rock Bet have a win total of 6.5. So they made a lot of win-now moves. Another move that they just made was trading for Kenny Pickett off the Browns. By the way, Tom Brady, minority owner. Another mark against Shedeur Sanders. Not only did the Raiders pass on Shedeur time and time again in the draft, they traded for a Cleveland Browns quarterback not named Shedeur Sanders. Just something to write down. Just a note to take. If that's your mentee, which Tom Brady is a public mentor for Shedeur Sanders, why is he not believing in you? I don't know. That's Tom. 6.5. That's the win total for the Raiders this year. And C-Cat, taking the over.
Whoa.
I'm taking the over. My record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders, 7-10. 7-10. I want to take you behind the curtain here. I like to give my record prediction before I look at the win total. And I do that because I don't want it to influence me, but then I keep seeing that I'm always one above or one below, except for the Chiefs where I went like 2 or 3 above because I think that line is way too low.
I feel like you're pumping air in your tires right now. I just happen to be the same amount of intelligence as the bookies.
No, I was actually doing the opposite. I didn't realize that's what I was leading into. I was really trying to say, like, I don't want people to think I'm like hedging by picking a number that's so close to the win total. Like, oh, they're going to win one,
Right, okay.
Going to go just over.
That's not very bold.
Yeah, exactly. Which I really just feel like the Raiders are a 7-win team. And here's why, though. They made so many win now moves. They took in a head coach in Pete Carroll, who is a Hall of Famer, who knows how to squeeze victory from the jaws of defeat. And they also, if you think about like Brock Bowers, year 2, Ashton Jeanty, year 1, they went out and they made sure that Jacoby Myers, who asked for a trade request, is staying put. They signed Amari Cooper. They are acting as a team right now that feels like they are a competing contender. They think that they can make the playoffs this year, and they're wrong, but I'd be damned if I don't give them credit for feeling that way and making those kind of moves. The AFC West is much too difficult. The AFC in general is a tough slate, but I do think that this is going to be a very fun team to watch this year and a hard team to go against because of what their defense is like, because of Ashton Jeanty. So 7-10 feels about right, and I feel like that's them overperforming what they actually should be doing because they made a lot of win now moves, and I just can't discredit them for that, man. Like,
is 7-10 last place in the AFC West this year?
Yes. Yes, but just barely.
Okay. And now, if you were a Raiders fan and you happen to spin the wheel that dictates how you feel about the Raiders.
Fan filling wheel. The fan filling wheel. Let's spin it. Let's spin the fan filling wheel for the Las Vegas Raiders, and they are feeling disillusioned.
What does that mean?
Disillusioned as in like what you may think that you are, what you may think that because of the signs your team is showing you is reality is actually not. You're a bit, let's say, led astray. And I do believe that they are being led astray by these win now moves. It looks good, it feels good, but when you get out there on the field, the talent gap is still going to be a little bit too much for you guys to be able to get past it. I like Ashton Jeanty. I like Geno Smith. I like the weapons centered around Brock Bowers that they have. He looks like maybe the best tight end in the league already. But do I think that they can win games consistently against teams in the AFC, specifically in their own division? I don't think so. 7 wins I thought was high, but 6.5 was their line on Hard Rock Bet. So I feel like I was close enough to what people are thinking here. How about we do the Teddy tiers?
Ooh.
There's big steppers, there's nominees, there's fun guys, there's scrappy dogs, and then there's the motionless at the bottom there when we look at the tiers. And if you're at ESPN West Palm on YouTube, you'll see the tiers are moving. They have some motion. The Raiders have some motion. You can move them up a little bit. In fact, they're not just scrappy dogs. Put them up in there in the fun guys. Put them up there in the fun guys. The reason why the Raiders get fun guys and not scrappy dogs, they have all of the elements of a scrappy dog team. But if you see there, the Seattle Seahawks, who I do think can possibly outpace the Raiders in wins this year, ain't nobody tuning in to watch that. Ain't nobody tuning in to watch Sam Darnold play action passes to Jackson Smith and Jigba. And the corpse of Cooper Kupp. Nobody's tuning in to watch that. I do want to see what Ashton Jeanty looks like on the NFL field. I would love to see more Brock Bowers absolutely mauling dudes over the middle, catching the ball and running through tacklers left and right. Geno Smith is a entertainer. He slings the ball around. It's not like he's like mobile. He slings the ball around, and it's going to be a fun watch. The Vegas Raiders this year. They're going to be aggressive on defense. Max Crosby, he never turns that motor off. Like, the Raiders are going to be a fun watch. They're fun guys. But they're not necessarily competing.
And to contextualize